Alright, welcome to 11.7 day 1 notes, and in these particular notes we are multiplying and dividing radicals. So for this first part, I just wanted you to look at the square root of a times the square root of a. What we're doing is, since they're both under the radical, we're multiplying them together. So the square root of a times a, add the exponents, is the square root of a squared. Now from the lesson previously, we learned that you take the exponent for a and divide by the index. And that's how we were able to get to a. So here, we're just multiplying the a times the b, which is a times b. Alright, so if it's inside the radical and you're multiplying, you multiply both terms that are inside the radical. So here we're multiplying 2 times 2. So that is the square root of 4. Well, what is the square root of 4? 2. What number times itself is 4? Is 2. Now here, when you have numbers on the outside, you multiply those two numbers together. So 3 times 5 is multiplied on the outside. On the inside, we're multiplying 3 times 3. So on the outside, 3 times 5 is 15. On the inside, square root of 3 times square root of 3, that's square root of 9. So square root of 9 is 3. So multiply those two numbers together, and we get 45. Alright, now over here, we're multiplying 13 times 52. Now that's actually a big number, and since you aren't going to be able to use your calculator, what I would do is say, okay, 13 times 52 is some number. Okay, we'll just put some number. We know the factors of that number are 13 and 52. So 13 is prime. 52, though, we'll divide by 2. 2 is prime. 26 will divide by 2. And now I have all prime numbers. So this is actually the square root of 2 times 2 times 13 times 13. I just broke those two numbers into prime factors. Now, this is what we did in our first video. We're looking for twins. So 2 times 2 is 4. The square root of 4 is 4. Square root of 4 is not 4, it's 2. Square root of 13 times 13 is 13. So I'm multiplying 2 times 13, which is 26. So that's whenever you have a time not being able to use your calculator, because you're not going to be allowed to use your calculator. That's how you would work those kind of problems. Makes it a little bit simpler for yourself. Alright, so number 4. We have the square root of 5 times 5, square root of 5, so both those are underneath the radical, times the square root of 36. Now, square root of 5 times 5 is square root of 25 times the square root of 36. Now I'm just multiplying 25 times 36, but I don't want to multiply 25 times 36. So I'm going to, because that's a big number, so I'm going to take the square root of 25, which is 5, and the square root of 36, which is 6, and multiply those two numbers together. Okay? I'm showing you how to do some things that you would do whenever you can't use a calculator, which, again, you won't be able to do. Alright, so first we're going to multiply the 2 times the 3 because they're both on the outside. On the inside, we're multiplying 3 times 48. So I know 2 times 3 is 6. Alright, so 3 times 48, I don't really want to multiply that out because I know it's going to be a big number, and I'm not interested in the big number. I'm more interested in the factors of those two numbers. So 3 is already prime. 48 is 6 times 8. 6 is 2 times 3. Both of those are prime. 8 is 4 times 2. 2 is prime. 4 is 2 times 2. Both those two are primes. So I'm more interested in breaking it down into its factors. So we have, what do we have here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4 2's. And we have 1, 2, 3's. So those are the prime factors of 3 times 48. Alright, so let's circle twins. Okay, so I had this 6 out here. Now what gets to come out? Well, this, a square root of 2 times square root of 2, square root of 2 times 2 is 2. Square root of 2 times 2 is 2. Square root of 3 times 3 is 3. So I'm just going to multiply all that together. 12 times 2 times 3, 24 times 3 is 72. Okay, so this is ways to work these problems because you can't use a calculator. Alright, so here I have a 5 times a 1. That's on the outside. On the inside, I'm multiplying 2 times 7. So on the outside, 5 times 1 is 5. On the inside, 2 and 7 are both prime, so there's no twins there. So I just multiply them together. So my answer is 5 square root of 14. Okay, a couple more, or a few more with fractions. Here I have 9/5 times 5/9. So what I'm going to do first is, because I'm dealing with fractions and I can't use a calculator, I am going to reduce, simplify. 9 and 9 both divide by 9. 5 and 5 both reduce by 5. So now, in the numerator, I have 1 times 1. In the denominator, I have 1 times 1. So 1 divided by 1 is just 1. And the square root of 1 is 1, not 1/2. Okay, what number times itself as 1 is 1. All right, do the same thing with this one. We have inside the radical 7/6 and 54 over 28. So first let's reduce. 7 and 28 both reduce by 7. 6 and 54 both reduce by 6. So in the numerator, I have 1 times 9. In the denominators, I have 1 times 4. So now we're just going to take the square root of 9 and the square root of 4. So that's 3 over 2. Okay, and again, don't make it mixed because you can't use a calculator anyway, so just leave it improper. All right, last one. We have 4 over 3 times 15 over 16. Let's reduce. 3 and 15 will both reduce by 3. 4 and 16 will both reduce by 4. So top times top. In the numerators, 1 times 5 is 5. In the denominators, 1 times 4 is 4. So this is the square root of 5 over the square root of 4. Well, 5 is already prime, so that's just going to stay underneath the radical. But the square root of 4 is 2. So this answer is square root of 5 over 2. All right, so go to the back and do the student problems and submit the Google form.